Hello, everyone. This is John with the Simple Success Podcast, financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Because we know you want to show us some serious love in return for the tremendous benefits you get from us. Please head over to the support link in our written show notes. That's the words on your podcast player. There, you can choose from a $9.99 per month doing level support, a $4.99 knowing level, or a basic intro level of just 99 cents per month, whichever you choose. Thank you so much for helping us do this. To leave us a voice message which just might see the light of day in a future podcast, go to those same written show notes. You'll go to a site like Video Ask, where you can leave a video, audio, or text-only message, depending on how you feel at the moment. You can also send us an audio file attached to an email if you use more than your phone for stuff. Hint. I won't repeat those links because weird. And anyway, show notes. It's all in there and it's all easy. Hello, Simple Success listeners. This is John. Now, I know I told you in episode 29 that I would be focusing on the nudge concept and SPACs and a few other things in upcoming episodes, and I'll get to that. But I've decided to postpone them temporarily so that you can hear an interview that I had with my media expert, and that will be episodes 30, 31, and 32. Thank you for listening. I know you're going to enjoy it. Gracias por escuchar. A la prochaine. This episode of the Simple Success Podcast is a recording I made of a Clubhouse conversation I had recently with my media expert. I'm playing that back for you because I know you're going to like it.
It feels like a goal. The success doesn't really come because they've not really figured out how it can benefit them because they don't know why they're doing it.
Yes. Very, 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 very common thing. I have struggled with various forms of that, like everybody has over the years. The thing that I have found the most useful is to take the goal, whatever it happens to be, if it's a financial goal or an exercise goal or a personal relationship goal or whatever it is, to take it and break it down into little bits where you're going to get to the goal. You're not giving up your goal. You're not reducing your goal. You're just breaking it down and saying, I'm going to take steps to get there. Think of like a series of steps going up to your front porch or whatever of your house. Instead of leaping all the way up, you've got a set of steps that are built there. That's to make it easy and possible to do that. So you step on the first step, then the second, then the third, and then you're up to the porch. And that's what I want to do with everything. So we're not going 0 to 60 as the phrase goes. That doesn't mean that we don't get into anything that's at all uncomfortable. That's why we all want to define it for each individual person. Are you interested in stocks? Maybe you are. Maybe you're not. If you're interested in real estate, maybe you are. Maybe you're not. If you're interested in cryptocurrency, maybe yes, maybe no. There's a number of different possibilities. But the end result is you succeeding in a way that leaves you feeling comfortable. And there's so much talk about stress and anxiety going on these days. We don't need to have it in finance. And there's a way to do that. There is a way to do that.
Now I'm thinking about the process, because now we think about goals, intentions, how do we build our strategies? These are questions we ask each other, and we ask people, and we ask ourselves, and really we don't get an answer until something happens. So for me, I've come to this point of processing where I'm thinking, okay, as a business owner, as someone that thinks about longevity, do I have an exit plan? Am I willing to sell this business? Am I able to, transfer ownership? Am I going to, leave it behind for, what are we doing? It's like the way people leave their cars, keep it because it's a vintage, it's something that's priceless. So when you think about that with real estate, with property, with finance, with goals, with mindset, are they thinking about these examples like IPOs, initial public offerings, nudgings, short selling, like you mentioned with stocks? Are those things that people should be thinking about when it comes to longevity, or they can do without them?
Give me an example of what you mean by longevity.
Longevity in the sense of, like you mentioned, success and not worrying about your primary payment plan or your primary resource, because you already have that diversity of portfolio that really gives you a breaking ground. So that longevity whereby you can really think about focusing on community rather than just focusing on a day-to-day lead.
Got it. So this is yet another area where the specific goals of the person really comes hard into play. And you mentioned a couple of areas like IPOs and short selling. There's other areas that are popular topics of the day. You'll hear them on every podcast or every book or every newspaper, like special purpose access corps or SPACs. That's the hot topic of 2021. None of those things in and of themselves are particularly hard. That's the gap that I intend to bridge. Some of those things are going to be very appropriate for you. Other things are going to be not appropriate. But that comes down to what your final goal is. Do you want to get in? So I'll get more specific. IPOs. Those have been around for a long time. When they happen, usually, well, that what it stands for, if for those who don't know, is initial public offering, and that is the first time that a completely private company becomes a completely public company or a mostly public company. You and I or anybody else can go buy a share of their company. Rarely a good idea for you or me, the individual investor, to get in on these things. Back to what's important to you, what do you want to do with it? Can we diversify? Only what I mean by it is put a little bit of what you've got actively going into one thing, like an IPO or a stock or a cryptocurrency or a real estate investment or a number of different things that might possibly be interesting to you. And interesting to you is also very, very important. If it's not interesting to you, remember what I said about I could do anything well if I was interested in it? That comes into play very strongly right here too. If you're interested in IPOs, for example, and you may or may not be, and that's okay, but if you're interested in them, you're more likely to want to learn and put money to work in that area. It might mean more to you. And meaning to you is critical. Making money is important, but making money and feeling good about it and doing right and doing well and all that sort of thing, that is also very, very important.
That's a goal mindset that really needs someone.
You're here in the Simple Success Podcast, where you've landed well in your search for financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. We come to you on a regular basis with podcasts, webinars, and masterclasses, together aimed at freeing you from the change that the financial industry puts on all of us. Most of us don't even know what those changes are, and in this spirit, we're not going to try to solve problems that people don't even know they have. No, instead, let's go up to common ground here. We can overcome, and we will do so. Join me for the ride of your life in a good way. This podcast and our other podcast are productions of Little Red Hen Industries. The supporting cast who helps me bake the bread includes Techno King John C. Brandy, fact checker Abraham Lincoln, French consultant Virginia Mitchell, media expert Favour Obasi-Ike, psychologist Sigmund Freud, rabbit hole advisor Dr. Marg Perrott, sound designer Gugliemo Marconi, Spanish consultant Cameron J.K. Brandy, videographer Alfred Hitchcock, audio props go to Les Paul, and inspiration to Napoleon Hill, Earl Nightingale, and Bob Proctor. We also have a website, and you can subscribe to both podcasts. You can even send us a video, audio, or text message. But of course, you'll have to head to the show notes, either on your phone or on the web, to actually get links and stuff. I mean, I could read the URLs where you can subscribe, support, or leave one of those video or audio or text messages, but you really don't want me to do that. And those explicit clickable links are in the show notes. Finally, you can find us on Podmatch, where we consider guests as well as consider guesting on other people's pods. And really finally, the music for our pods comes from Cute by Ben Sound and from Piano Background by Nick Simon Adams, both on freesound.org.